All right, well, let's talk about, I want to talk about, I had to just really, so got up. Let's talk about what it is to be human, because this is a difficult market. It is, just call it what it is. It's difficult because it's slow. We're going to talk about what makes a market slow. And but I woke up Wednesday morning, I had breakfast with Casey, and I woke up and I had that dark cloud feeling that I've had several mornings in the last few weeks, where I just wake up and I'm like going, God damn it. And, because I'm not happy with the volume any more than you're not happy with the volume. And I have a lot different level of things to worry about when it comes to lack of volume, as it affects 50 people or 45 people, however many people work here today. So, I have my whole morning routine, take the dogs out, whatever. I'm downstairs and I'm, finish all the journaling things that I do and writing my 25 affirmations and updating things. And, and I haven't checked my bank account at US Bank in a long time. I don't know why. And we've been doing some projects that we committed to, that we had to do because we'd already given people deposits in the backyard. And I just hadn't checked my checking account for, feels like a couple of weeks, which is unusual because I usually look at it every other day or something, just because I don't balance my checkbook anymore, but I watch every entry to see what everything is, so I know what's happening. And when I added up, and I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but when I added up how much money I had in my checking account, I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I acting like this is bad? I'm in such a good financial position because of everything that we've done leading up to this. And all I'm doing is worrying about something that isn't currently real. I know the market's slow, but I know what we have to do to get through to this. So I would advise everybody to make sure that you're looking at everything that you really do have. And it doesn't matter. You may not have as much money as I had in my checking account. And that's not the point. The point is right after, so I sat down with Casey and I shared this with him, because I was all excited. Like, it changed my attitude instantly. It instantly changed my attitude. It's like, God damn it, I'm doing that thing that I know we should never do, which is think about what we don't want. And what we're thinking about, what you focus on expands. We all know that that's the purpose of writing an affirmation 25 times, because what you focus on expands. But we're all focusing. I've been doing like what I know is like the cardinal sin of not bringing things into my life that I don't want, by telling everybody when they ask me how it's going. It's like, well, we're pretty slow, but blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I just reinforced that we're pretty slow for me. And I when I was talking to Casey, I just said, God damn it, I'm gonna quit doing this. And we all need to quit. I challenge all of you to quit saying that and quit thinking it out, quit thinking it, and start thinking about it this way, because there's too much evidence and there's too many examples in life and in history where your attitude will change the outcome dramatically. And the attitude will reinforce the outcome consistently as well. So if you're thinking it's bad and it's slow and we're not having all these opportunities, I don't have any deals, and it's like, this is bad, what am I going to do? Like, all we're doing is focusing on that thing that we don't want. And so when I said that to Casey, I was like, I still do believe this. And the reason that this is the greatest, in my 25 years in the business, the greatest opportunity to grab market share that I've ever seen. And there's some really logical reasons as to why this is true. So I'm going to read from a couple. Well, first, I'm going to talk about what this is. And I've talked about this before. And I think when I first brought this up, this is from the book Shift. When I first brought this up, I don't think I thought, or any of you thought, the market would get like it is now. Because the first time I brought this up was, maybe in the spring. And so let's talk about what the shift is. When the shift occurs, and it's occurred, right? Fear runs rampant. Tell me that's not true. Fear runs rampant, right? Although not everyone responds in the same way. Some people, though they feel the fear, also know that they are in an equal opportunity but unequal reward business. It's really the 80-20 rule at work. 20% of the people will do 80% of the business in any entrepreneurial endeavor. Those who understand this know they have to be better than average to earn the better than average rewards. That's never changed. If individuals understand a shift or have actually experienced one, they know they have to push past the fear and face two tests. First, to survive, and the second is to thrive. Now, if in the last 2 years that we've had all this abundance, and this doesn't apply to the brand new people, but in the last 2 years, we've had all this abundance. If you didn't plan, if you didn't know that we weren't going to always have a $4 trillion a year mortgage lending environment, then you weren't paying attention, because a $4 trillion lending environment is not natural, right? It's just not. They have to hang tough until the law of equilibrium reasserts itself. Then it's opportunity time. So let's talk about what this law of equilibrium is. So all that is like, this is what happens when there's a shift. So let's talk about the law of equilibrium. Is as old as the real estate industry itself. It is simple and it's straightforward. It states that the available income in a market, pay attention to this, the available income in a market determines the number of, I'm going to use loan officers instead of real estate agent, determines the number of loan officers in the market. Okay. So what happened in two $4 trillion markets in 20 and 21, lots of people joined the mortgage industry. As the number of transaction rises, so does the number of loan officers. Conversely, when the number of available transaction falls, so does the number of loan officers. People are attracted to the industry by the perceived income opportunity, and they're driven out by the reality of the competition for it. I know that Christine and Jan, who are two of the older new people that work here, when they came, it wasn't, we didn't think it was going to be that kind of a market, but it turned out that it was. But I don't think that's why you jumped in you guys didn't jump in the business because of that. And since perception tends to trail behind reality, two lag periods show up in every economic shift: the down lag and the up lag. The down lag occurs because the number of agents don't decline. The number of loan officers don't decline until the number of transaction has already been dropping for some time. Okay. Takes a while. People have to finally go like, shit, I got to go do something else. Somebody has to, like, people have to say that, and they are, but it takes time. The low point of the income opportunity then occurs when the most loan officers are chasing the least amount of income. I think we're here, right? That's where we are. The up lag works in reverse. When the transactions increase, the high income opportunity point occurs on the way up when the fewest agents, fewest loan officers are chasing the most amount of income. With the relatively few barriers to entry in the mortgage industry, can become flooded with the mortgage industry can become flooded with practitioners during a prolonged market, large and prolonged up market, which is what 2020 and 2021 was. Like, we all said it during 2021, it was like going, I don't even want to talk about how good this is. Like, because that's what I was saying. Like, people were losing their jobs and we were hiring like crazy. When the amount of business declines, the competition becomes untenable. There are more people, but less business and fewer deals. Fewer deals means less money, and less money means lower income for everyone. And it eventually means fewer people doing business. If you can ride this out, survive, right? You have to survive. And we can, because we're good. We know what we're doing. We're good. And if you stay busy, if you stay prospecting, if you stay out there doing this, this will work. If you can ride out the initial lag period as more and more people get out of the business, you can find yourself in a less competitive market. And that's how more business relative to the number of people working to get it. This is the time to thrive. Okay. So just that's, I didn't write this book, but what a great time. And the subtitle of this book, it's not about the market. It's about what you do. It's never been about the market. If the market is the reason you're doing a lot of business, then the market's going to take your business away. You can't think, oh, it's a really good market, I'm going to get in this. You have to think, I'm in this because I'm in this for the long haul, and this is what I'm going to do. So that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about in that book. So I'm going to just talk about a couple of other things. So just keep in mind what I said. It was about a $4 trillion market. So this is, I started watching, I read an article that a lot of insiders at Rocket Mortgage are buying their stock. So the people who work there and the executives like Jay Farnham, the president, and Dan Gilbert, the founder, the CEO, or I don't know if he's the CEO anymore, but he's the founder. They're buying their stock at like $7 a share. When they went public, it got up to like $18 a share during the pandemic. but they're now at $7 a share and they're buying up their stock. Why would guys buy up their stock in a down market? Because they still believe it's a very viable market. And listen to this article. It's really cool. So just first to reiterate what I just told you, mortgage industry is struggling with higher rates and sharp drop in buyer demand. And Rocket says it's got a plan to turn things around. The volume of originations, refinances has plunged, blah, blah, blah. We can get into all of this. It can be painful, but some companies, this is Jay Farner. The way this business works, I admire this company, but I think they're goofballs the way they do business, but you should respect what they're able to do because they do really well. The way this business works is that sometimes too much capacity is put into the system. And that's exactly what happened in 2020 and 2021. Isn't it exactly what I just read you? Said Jay Farner, the CEO of Rocket Companies. It can be painful. Some companies are closing their doors. We've already seen that. Others are shutting down divisions of their companies, wholesale companies shutting down their wholesale divisions, right? Others are doing layoff. Unfortunately, that's part of the process, but the capacity comes out. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what this shift is. There's too much capacity. But Rocket is holding steady amid the storm. It's pushing deeper into its recent acquisitions of personal finance app. It's competing hard among peers to win over customers, and it's improving efficiency. All of those things will give us the opportunity to increase conversion and grow market share. Rocket doesn't think they're buying their stock, right? So let's scroll down here a little bit more. Blah, blah, blah. There was something else that I wanted to, on Rocket, the number one mortgage company currently has 6.4% of the market, and they're number one in America. I love that. I love that statistic. It makes me so happy. Let me see. This is the part. Where did he say this? He said it. I can't find it. Yeah. You got a mortgage market that was about $4 trillion in mortgages in 2020 and 21. And now you're going to have a market that's going to be 2 trillion or so, give or take. It may have shrunk, but that's still a huge, huge market. That's huge. Like a $2 trillion market, we would have all said, oh yeah, that's going to be really healthy. They're talking about it maybe being 2.4 this year, maybe 1.9 trillion next year. So a little less, but still that's a $2 trillion market is a healthy market. We just need the people that got in because it was a $4 trillion market to get out, the people that weren't committed, that aren't committed to this long-term. And when they do, we're going to be fine. So you've got to be able to ride this out. I'm going to read something else now. So Tim Brahim, who is the business coach that I work with, and some of these, there's all these groups that I'm in, that all these chat groups. And here's what he wrote. And this was right after the market tanked after the discount rate. Tim's a very bright guy. And so here's what he says. He goes, hey gang, I'm thinking about all of you and the market. Hang in there. This is going to get much better. I feel like a lot of the bad news is baked in. I'm not Barry, so listen to him and not me, because he really respects Barry's opinion. He doesn't respect Barry, but that's another story. That said, I've been pretty accurate thus far going back to January. So I'm going to continue to put my neck out there a bit more and hope that I'm right. I don't think that the Fed can afford to say things that is going to give the market a reason to rally. They need to keep stocks and crypto down to slow down inflation. In the meantime, a lot of bad news is getting baked in, and even mild news will eventually be perceived as good news in this market. I have to believe that these hikes are still to take effect, and by year end, that we will start to see some signs of a slowdown. I also don't buy that they know what they will be able to do with rates in 12 months, because that's what he was saying this week. And that's when he starts, this Fed group is like, I don't know, I'll ask Giuseppe and John what they think, Chris. It's like the worst group of Fed governors I've ever had to listen to. It's astounding to me how much misdirection and bullshit they're spewing that is completely opposite of the facts that are apparent to everyone. Anyway, I'm still feeling like a much better market come spring. Keep building your war chest. If buyers buyers and stay in touch. The day is going to come when you're calling them and telling them that rates are down to 5.5, and they will consider that really good news. This is important. A major part of this is a reset of psychology and expectations, and you're halfway home in my view. 6 to 8 months to go, gang. So it doesn't mean, oh, and we're not going to do any more loans for the next 6 to 8 months. It means we're not going to do a lot of loans for the next 6 to 8 months. But that doesn't change the fact that you can't be out there prospecting and gaining relationships and gaining market share and getting as many agents in butts, any agents' butts in seats at this event with Renee. Everything I hear when I talk to those of you that have gone out and talked to your agents, they're like, God, I would love to go to that. They're hungry right now. They're hungry for leadership. They're hungry for people that are excited and that seem like they're just like going, we're going to be fine, because we're going to be fine. There's just too many people in the business right now for the number of transactions. That's all it is. And that's how this has always worked. So, but remember this, remember what I said. I woke up Wednesday morning and I felt like shit. I'm a human being. We're all human beings. I felt like shit. I was like, God damn it, this sucks. We got 28, 30 I don't even think we have 30 applications so far this month. This sucks. Yeah. And so like so those of you that are like, oh man, I'm like going, yeah, I know none of us like so it's not like there's something that you're not doing that you're supposed to be doing. As long as you're doing the prospecting activity and you're staying busy and you're staying energetic and you have the right attitude, you cannot go out and meet people talking to buyers and talking to real estate agents with a cloud over your head. You can't. Because if you do, they're going to feel that vibe. And then we know exactly what's going to happen. They're like, yeah, this does suck. Right. So when you say to me, or when I say to you, or when I say to anybody who calls me, it's like, well, I wish we were busier. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to say that shit anymore. It's like, dude, we are right in the middle of the best market share grabbing opportunity I've seen in 25 years, because the high was so high and this low is going to be, this is really low. I didn't think we'd get like this, but that high was super high. It was a $4 trillion market, man. I mean, that's insane. 2.5% interest rates, or 2 3/4. Like, are you kidding me? And I'm going to remind everybody of something else. Like, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2018, 2019, and 2020, we were all complaining about how there were so many buyers and not enough houses. And I said, it's way better than the other way around, where nobody wants to buy. I fucking told you, because here we are. This sucks. I'll be the first to admit, God damn it, people don't want to make offers. Now we're screwed, right? But here's your job is to go out and tell those buyers, dude, you can negotiate now. This is I don't know how long this window is going to last, but you can negotiate an offer that'll get accepted. Because if somebody's got their house on the market right now, they want to move. Right? Because they know they're moving in a higher interest rate market, but they've still got their house on the market. You can negotiate with those people. And so you've got to have that. You've got to get that out there to everybody. So don't discount how important this is. So kind of being evangelical today, aren't I? So now I'm going to just share, this is like one of my favorite, and Billy Halleck gave me this. When I first got in the mortgage industry, Billy Halleck, he didn't give me this document that I'm going to show you, but he gave me, a little, gave me like a 3x5, it was like a credit card size document. And this is it. It was attitude. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances. I'm going to bring this over to my other screen so it doesn't look like I'm not talking to you guys. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. I'm going to go back to this. It's more important than the facts. I know it's slow, but your attitude is more important than that fact. Right? It's more important than how slow it is. Your attitude is the most important thing. It will make or break a company. It will make or break a church, a home. It'll make or break your career, people. Okay? That I promise you it will. So the remarkable thing is we have a choice every single day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. The only thing we can do is play on that one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% is how I react to it. It's not that I'm convinced. I know this is true. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Don't discount this, because how do I stop screen sharing now? I don't know if I can do that. Sorry, but
I suggest everyone print this out and put it somewhere where they read it every day. I've been reading this every day for like 12 years, every morning.
Good for you, dude. I didn't know that. That's awesome. It's so powerful. If you understand this, then whatever fact you're dealing with, and I know, like I said, I woke up, remember, we're all human. I woke up, I felt like shit. I hate this. I hate this. But I can't walk into this office going, this sucks. God, what would happen? People would start quitting, and I'm like, man, I don't know what we're going to do. We can't have that attitude. Okay. Because I do know what we're going to do. We're going to go out and attack the market, and we're going to, how do I do this? Oh, here we go.
Can I share a story that kind of relates to what you're saying in this?
Please do. Please,
right,
while I try to fix my...
A certain person that used to work here over at the Pearl Street office, name rhymes with cat. Anyway, I came in one day, it was like June or something. He was, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, what's going on, man? He's like, dude, this is a tough market. I might have to like get a part-time job. This is so tough. And at that moment, I was like, get the fuck out of my face. Because I didn't want that attitude at this office. And in my head, I thought, I was like, dude, you want to go get a part-time job making $20 an hour doing whatever the fuck you want to do, when you could just do extra work during that time frame and get an extra loan and make $5,000 a month. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Sorry for the language, but it really pissed me off. So for the new people, like, and it's contagious too, like you said, Dave, because all those people are now working together at Spire, and I've looked up their production and they're not doing shit. So birds of a feather flock together, or something like that, right? So
yeah.
Don't be like Matt. Don't be like that, guys. It is tough, but you got to stay positive. You got to have a good attitude, and it's contagious. So just,
well, that's just right. It's easy to go out and drop your attitude on other people, and then because that's what I always say. It's like going, oh yeah, so you're like the smoker. Like, you have a shitty attitude, and now you want people to agree with your bullshit. It's like the smokers in high school, like, hey, come on, man, have a cigarette. This is awesome. Like, because it reinforces their desire to have. It's how I started fucking chewing tobacco like a dumbass. And so that's it, dude. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Anybody else want to add anything?
I've never read this, but it sounds like a pretty simple thing to read every day.
I want to go run through a brick wall now, so thank you.
So let's share some wins, because I know there's some really good things happening. Some of these meetings that are going on, and some of the real estate agents. Jacqueline, I know that you've met with agents. Tell us how that's going, what kind of response you're getting. And I know that you're having some big wins after you have those meetings about them wanting to introduce you to other agents.
Yeah, I've had about 14 realtor meetings in the last 2.5 weeks or so. And then I've got probably 3 or 4 more scheduled next week. And then I still have a handful of agents I'm trying to reach out to. And I've started asking those agents that, like, hey, if there's anybody in your office that you work with that you think would work well with me, like, I'm starting to hear lenders are starting to drop the ball and are even getting out of the business. And so I'm not going anywhere. I'm in this for the long haul. So a handful of them was like, yeah, I think I've got somebody, or I've got a gal who's not working with their lender anymore, and we're just kind of sick of this person and what have you. And then I've got some agents who have teams, and I've gotten them to let me come in and teach classes on the 2-1 buy down and seller concessions, because you'd be surprised how many of them still don't understand how that works. So I'm starting just to see a lot more activity. The majority of the agents that I've asked to have a meeting with, every single one that's communicated with me has said yes to the meeting. So nobody's turning me down. I've got a couple that haven't responded, but so I'm staying on top of them and just staying consistent and making sure that I'm following up with the background stuff. I've got a good number of people, I think probably 15 or 20 agents signed up for the Renee event so far. So I'm getting a lot of feedback on it. So, and it's all been really positive.
Right on. Casey, you said at the beginning you were going to talk about a win. Go ahead. And then
Yeah,
somebody-
it just,
raise your hand if you want me to call on you. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I just, after a couple weeks of it being, I guess what we're saying is not the S word, but it's not as busy as you would want it to be. Have had some good conversations with some of my realtor partners as well, and they're still sending me referrals. People that are going, hey, we picked the wrong time to buy, but we're ready. Let's do it. And just getting a few more of those leads this week feels really good.
Right on. Anybody else? Christine, talk about some of the, you got events coming up. You've had events. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I've been doing events pretty much all month with different real estate partners, and I'm just really trying to show that I'm doing whatever I can to also help their business grow. And it's really actually helped me get around to other realtors that see me doing these things with their colleagues. And that's actually introduced me to a lot of people, and that's how I'm reaching out to people. Like, what is your lender doing right now to help you through this? Because if they're just sitting there asking you if you have buyers, you're with the wrong lender, right? You need somebody that's going to partner up with you during this time and do these types of things and get out in the community and get your sphere bigger, right? To kind of help us through this. So that's really been helping me, introducing me to people. I mean, I got 12 leads last week. They weren't all great, I'll say that.
12 leads, man.
Is,
12 leads. Shit.
Yeah, so it is helping. Colorado Springs is very community based. So I'm really trying to take advantage of that. People talk to each other. Down here, it really is the 80% of the people do 20%, or 20% of the people do 80% of the business. So it's really trying to get within that group and letting them know what I'm doing to help them. And that's been going pretty well. So.
Right on. Anybody else? Yeah. Just take that message that I shared about building the war chest of buyers. Take that message to your realtors. Just tell them how this works. Hey, this is how this works. Because they're scared. And don't discount what Jacqueline was saying about the 2-1 buy down stuff. We have the curse of knowledge here. We invest a lot of time and energy in teaching you guys how this shit works, how mortgage lending works. Don't think that this is what happens at every mortgage company, because it doesn't. People do not invest in this. It's individual, and people make individual investments of this, but companies don't invest the time and energy that we have in like using Mortgage Coach and using that tool. You think that when you're talking to really good agents that they probably know all the shit there is to know about financing, and they just don't. Don't talk down to them, but make sure that they do you understand how would you like me to share with anybody in your office how the 2-1 buy down works, or how to negotiate seller concessions? I'm happy to do that. And I think that's where there's a huge opportunity in this, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to know what you know. If you think everybody knows the shit you know, you're making a mistake. What were you going to say, Casey?
I just had a follow-up question, because what you're saying to Jacqueline, actually, to share this with the group, and I'm curious too. Out of the agents that you're mentioning the 2-1 buy down to, how many have heard of it versus how many have not heard of it? And then how many have heard of it, but just don't actually understand it?
I'd say probably 40% of them have heard of it, but none of them understand how it works. Most of them, some of these older or newer agents, they don't understand seller concessions. They don't understand seller buy down. That doesn't make any sense to them. They don't know how to write a contingent offer. They don't know why it's okay to accept a contingent offer. Like, these people they've got into the business in end of 2019, early 2020. Like, half of these agents that I'm talking to don't do any post-closing marketing with their closed clients. They're just, it's my sphere. Like, they're not doing like annual real estate reviews. They're not doing those. So they're like, well, what systems do you know of? And so I'm getting them resources for that kind of stuff. I'm giving them ideas on Popeyes. Like, they haven't had to do any of that marketing. So they have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Well, and if you can bring a copy, if you're talking to agents that don't stay in touch with their fucking sphere, Jesus.
Yeah.
Ninja selling. Oh my God. You think that you're in an environment where you take orders. That's what a lot of realtors think when you get into a market, like, well, yeah, I just found a buyer, got a listing, got my commission check. Like, that's not how the business works.
Well, and
Right.
there's lenders who don't understand seller concessions or seller buy downs and
Lots
the
of them.
2-1 buy down. And those guys have mortgage coach. Like there's a guy over at Synergy that I've been trying to get to come over here, but he won't. But he has access to mortgage coach. No one's taught him how to use it. He came into the office. He's like, will you show me how to use mortgage coach? Like I had to teach my competition how to use mortgage coach because they don't know how to use it. And
Because we're
if the
trying to
ones-
recruit him. We're trying
Yeah,
to recruit
I'm
him.
trying to
I've
Yeah,
met
I feel
recruit
like
him.
I'll teach
Yeah.
you if you come over here.
Yeah.
So it's like even the ones who have mortgage coach, they're not using it to the capacity that we do. So your competition still is subpar at best.
So the message, I put a video message out, and so I would encourage all of you to do the same thing to because your social media feeds are not mine, and a message about how you got to be really careful in this market, right? You have to work with lenders that know how to do purchases. Purchases and refis are not the same at all. Those are two completely different types of transactions. A refinance does not have any deadlines to it, right? They can close whenever. So you got a guy who's only done refis and he's now trying to do purchases. He doesn't understand loan objection deadlines. He doesn't understand getting the money to closing the day before. He doesn't understand getting docs early because they're on refis. They're used to like having the buyer with like somebody showing up at somebody's house. Oh, it's not today. We're going to do it tomorrow. Like that's what they do. Right. So they don't get it. And I think there's a big opportunity to go, hey, just make sure if you're working with lender, we know how to do, all we've ever done is purchases. Right. So yeah, we do refis, but only to our own database. So you got to be, I'd make sure that you're sharing that message. It's 9:44, everybody. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? I will get a copy of the attitude document out to everybody. We'll get a recording of this. I really appreciate everybody's time. Just remember that it's your attitude. It is everything. It's more important. Your attitude is more important than the facts.
Will you send that out?
Yeah,
Will you
I
send
will.
that sheet out to everybody? Cool.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Let's have an awesome day. Let's go kick some ass.
Lock some bones, break some bones, and lock some.
Lock some loans, baby. There you go.
See you guys.